Hi, I'm Caleb, and today I'm going to take you through how we went from having the back of our house destroyed to getting a new expansion dried in. We'll talk costs and what I would probably do differently if I were doing it again, as well as just kind of some closing thoughts.
They've got some gravel placed and continue to put the formwork up for the foundation. Got all of the formwork up, filled with gravel. Got our plumbing put into the center. And then basically it'll have a trench all the way around that will be the footing.
Here are a couple shots of the completed formwork and the gravel and reinforcing beneath it. It was basically ready for concrete at this point, and so they came the following day and started pouring concrete once all of this was done. This crew definitely seemed not the most experienced, but they got it done to some extent.
Got the slab all poured. This is one day after it's done. They got all the formwork removed, which seemed really fast to me. I think typically on my jobs we make them wait definitely more than 24 hours, and you can see that it wasn't great compaction everywhere.
So then the next step is framing, and they got all of the exterior walls as well as the openings. So we've got a sliding door, a couple windows, and then the divider between kind of the main space, which is the kitchen, dining, and the utility room. And you can see how that kind of ties into the rest of the house there. This part of the process was probably the most nerve-wracking because, as you can see, the house was just exposed to the elements. Once all the walls were up, they could then move on to the roof. I didn't get any great pictures of that, but they got the roof on and then sheathed everything. So that's putting basically plywood on the exterior. They could then wrap the house to keep basically moisture exterior to the house and then have your enclosed building envelope. There's a couple views here from both the outside, and then you can see what it looked like in the inside. The plan is for that area to be the kitchen and have a big island, and then that's the dining room kind of in that corner area. As you can see, there's a window that's to an existing bathroom that actually got removed, so no interior windows on the house. Then this is looking back towards the backyard. That's going to be a sliding glass door, so this space is going to have a ton of light. It's way more open and airy than the previous setup for sure, and hopefully built much more correctly. From there, this is a view of the kind of completed dried in space. So I didn't show it, but we got all this spray foam insulated on both the walls and the ceiling. It keeps it super temperate all through the year. We have HVAC running to this area, but all those vents are closed right now since it's still kind of a construction area, and it's crazy how warm/cool it stays. This is a quick view into the laundry room. This had to immediately go into use because if you've seen my other videos, we have an Airbnb in our other piece of the property, and we had to get that up and running so that it could be ready to house guests. There is the first piece of the expansion. Obviously, as you saw in some of the videos, contractors did pretty much all of the work, so that wasn't myself or my business partner doing pretty much anything other than kind of putting the plans together. And we chose to do that purely for expediency. We both have full-time jobs still, and we didn't really have the time to tear down a house, rebuild, and have that done in a time that we thought was not going to get rained on or be exposed to the elements or things like that. That being said, let's talk a little bit about costs. We spent $126,000 and 71, and I feel reasonable about that cost. Most of it was lumped into the construction loan that we got as a part of the house, but we did still have a little bit out of pocket. So I don't feel too bad about that number because prices per square foot around here are around $200, and the expansion plus the destruction as well cost us about $165 per square foot. So with that, I feel like if we decide to sell the house in the next couple of years, we'll probably have at least broken even, and it'll end up being a space that we like a lot more and actually get to use more than kind of the weird kitchen and expansion that was on the previous bit of the house. So what would I do differently now that we've done it? I think hiring a contractor was good because it went fast, but I'm a civil engineer by trade, and so I deal with kind of big construction contracts, and we really stick to the contract. With residential contractors, it didn't seem like that was the case as much. I had the contract and I'd be like, okay, we need to do this. And he's like, oh, well, it's just kind of how it's described and not really exactly what I'm doing. And it's like, why are we doing a contract at all then? So that's something that I would probably get a lawyer to nail that down a little bit more on the front end and maybe let the contractor know that I had it nailed down with a lawyer and that I was going to be intent on holding it to the letter of what the contract was. The next bit is change orders. So that $126,000 that we started with was not the original contract price, which I think was closer to $105,000. And that's because things got changed during the course of construction. Some of that was my and my partner's fault. We wanted to change things on the fly, and that does cost extra. But then I also thought that there were things the contractor didn't consider in our original designing the expansion, which he kind of offered design guidance, and I felt like that was in his court to have caught those things. So that's neither here nor there. We got there eventually. I'm happy with the fact that he let us just stop at being dried in. I think a lot of contractors would want to take it all the way through, but we didn't want to spend the entirety of the money to do that. And we think that we can do the rest of the expansion ourselves, or using some help here and there just to expedite things again. But overall, happy with kind of where we landed, even if there's some things that I maybe didn't love along the way. So lessons learned, and I'm happy to have learned them, and things that I will now do differently in the future. So that was the expansion portion of the house. There's still lots of work to be done. So if you found this helpful, or you would like to see other kind of DIY stuff, subscribe to the channel. I have been having a lot of fun putting out this stuff on the house. As like I said, I've been learning a lot. So hope to share that with you. And if it was valuable, like the video, share, do the whole bit. But until next time, thanks for watching, and I will see you later.